This is episode 134. What's a podcast? I'm 8.
It's my first day.
That was good. That one's going in.
That was much better, yeah.
Well, guys, the way we usually do it is we start talking, and then after a little while, one of us says, "So have you been recording this whole time?" And then the other one says, "Yes." And then we realize we started the episode.
Yeah, we don't do any sort of welcome to the podcast sort of thing like you guys do. So,
pros, you hear that?
So I'm going to start recording now.
How does it sound on your guys' end?
Sounds good to me.
Good.
All right,
for
cool.
me.
So
Yep.
I'm going to record the audio and then I'll send it to you, Justin.
Yes.
Correct.
Don't send it to me.
I sent it to Kyle.
I'm like, cool. Deleted.
Sick, man. Let's clear
Cool.
this shit out.
Great audio, thanks.
Oh, man. I listened to your new song, dude. It sounds sick.
Really love the new
word,
direction.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
one side of a conversation, very experimental.
Super abstract, man.
It's the words you don't say.
Right, yeah.
Wow, dude. So deep.
Bruh. I get it though.
I get it.
Like, if I was smarter, I'd probably get it. But, like, you know.
Doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
I mean, what you got there, that's,
Yeah,
man,
dog.
that's something, man. You know, it's like, that's all you say. You don't even say a sentence.
I'm glad you're doing it, man. You do you,
Right?
bro.
Yeah, what's the thing, like you just like state facts in a really exaggerated way, like, oh man, you were on that stage.
Wow, you did record that. Yeah.
You really
had
did it.
You had that guitar.
You're doing it, man. I don't know what it is, but you are doing it.
Mate, first you were tuning the guitar, and then you were finished tuning the guitar,
Yeah, right.
and then it was in tune.
I just heard a beer open and I have bad news about my beer situation here.
Uh-oh, what happened to your beer?
So I thought I had more beer than I had in the house. Today was going to be a classic 2-beer Monday, and I had one while I ate dinner, and then I went back to the fridge and there was none left.
Oh, that's the worst.
So I did not.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm drinking water like a chump. So
That's all right.
Did you werewolf it or something? Did you just forget you drank like 18 beers?
So
you wake up.
It sounds
and
like he thought he had one
like a barn.
well, I have a second beer fridge in the basement, so, and I thought there was
Oh.
some in there, and there is not.
I want a basement.
So now I'm just hydrating like a champ. So, hydration is key, boys.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm a double fist and a Fresca and a Miller Lite.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
there's
I
water
really
in it.
enjoy a Fresca.
They're so
Fresca's
good.
cool,
They're-
right? Is that grapefruit flavor? Is that what that
Correct.
is?
That,
Yeah.
Well, the one I have is the original citrus.
Yeah, I think it's intended to be grapefruit.
It's like a
Well, they
blend.
also have a grapefruit one though.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah.
That one's super grapefruit.
So it's the first one must be like a blend where they cut the grapefruit down a little bit. Like it's not full force.
It's, I mean, it's in there.
Right, it's not the high octane grapefruit.
It'll get you there.
I can read you a list of fake ingredients in here.
It'll get
and
you where you
nothing.
need to be, grapefruit wise.
No grapefruit.
No grapefruits were harmed. No making of that one.
Nope. Not that I can see.
So you guys, I can see you in the notes. Looks like you have access there. That's good.
Yeah, I got those.
Okay. It's fairly unofficial. It's just more of a thing so Justin and I don't forget what we were going to talk about each week. And, links and stuff for the show notes in the episode itself.
As long as somebody does, someone's on the track.
I know it's cool because we don't have to drive it, so it's all you guys.
Yeah.
It's all, we just have to derail you guys.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier today, and you guys, your show has a more. Maybe it's because you start the show with like the show is starting now kind of thing, like right at the beginning. It feels so much more like
fuckers, we're starting.
it feels so much more like official than us, and we're just like, oh, the show's starting now. I guess I've been recording for 4 minutes.
Well, I guess now that we're in it, I'm always wondering how you guys start the show.
It's this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in it. Okay.
So like right now, hey, is everybody recording?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah, cool. I've been recording
we're
for
in
almost 6 minutes.
I got
So-
5, so I missed one.
Yeah.
There's probably one juicy minute that we
That's
missed.
all right.
Well, I've
'cause
only
I
been going
record-
for 4, so joke's on me.
I record the incoming streams too because a few times there's been some juicy nuggets right at the beginning, and I always manage to fill that in.
Those juicy nugs.
Those juicy nugs. Well,
It's so gross.
we're from my perspective at least, we're back-to-back tone jerks because the last podcast thing that I did was as a guest on their show, and now they're here. And so this is as official an intro as you're going to get. Welcome, the Tone Jerks.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I should introduce myself.
This is
Don't just let the crowd wonder.
Welcome to the Tone Control. I'm your guest, Brian Gower. With me today, we have
Some other dude.
You know,
I'm Kyle.
yeah. If people don't know what they're listening to, I'm not gonna steal that from them.
Well, yeah, I was asking Derek maybe the other day. I'm like, because I know our episode that we did with you was posted on your feed. I'm like, did you guys get like feedback where people are like, what the hell is this?
I
no.
did
these
not hear
guys-
any feedback.
We
These guys
mentioned
are-
it in a few episodes, like, oh, we're doing a thing with
Yeah, that's
Tone
right. We did
Jerks.
tease.
And then right before it must have been 133, we said like, oh, next time we're going to be on the Tone Jerks. And I think I said that it's going to come out in our feed as well. So people maybe knew that it was coming. But yeah, we get almost no feedback on the show in the first place.
We're definitely a different show than you guys, even though, it's a guitar show. I was like, I was like, well, it could just, people could be like, what in the
Maybe
Oh, yeah,
there were. There's a very high possibility that people are wondering what the hell's going on. But
They're
no
talking
one
about
comments.
cars. They're talking about space shows and
Yeah,
cursing all the time.
It was back to back for you guys, but not for us. We had like 5 episodes. in
Yeah,
between,
how was
so-
that?
No, it's been forever.
Yeah.
Well, how you guys been?
Oh man,
Good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Pretty descriptive.
It's no, honestly, it's been nonstop work and stuff. I had my folks here for visiting, and they're looking for a house because they're trying to move up here, and it's been a crazy roller coaster with that. The house that they really liked, it had like horrible problems found in the inspection that were not visible by looking at it. So anyway, now they're looking at another place that they just put an offer in. So anyway, like tons of that's been going on. So I had like a very restricted, I'd taken time off.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I was at the point where I scheduled everything right and I wasn't going to like miss work while I was taking time off. And now I'm like kind of back to back to back because of just the way things worked out, which is fine. But fun side, this morning I was mastering a song for an artist, and they told me ahead of time that there was going to be a like a clean version and an explicit version of the song. It's like the same thing. So really, they're interchangeable. I'm just going to like do the thing, and it's not like it's not like it's doing two. I'm not billing him for 2 songs.
Mm-hmm.
The files come in. The song title is "F You."
Like, oh, this is the one, right? Just to be sure.
Yeah,
This is
I
the
was
one I'm
like,
working
so-
with? Okay, cool.
And the
clean version
The
is
clean version. Yeah, I was like, oh,
Frig off.
really? Yeah, so he changes it to "fu," so it's like syllabically it
It could
flows.
just be like "You" is the
Yeah.
name of the song now.
But like it's like, I mean, the core, it's like a pop kind of R&B song. It's a little bit Bruno Mars ish, and that's like the kind of music. And yeah, I mean, you title a song "F You," you better believe like 60% of the lyrical content is "F You." So it's kind of a thing.
Awesome.
So yeah.
You're like, there's just a lot of just breaks in here. There's no vocals.
Yeah,
Might as well make it an instrumental track at this point.
right. So yeah, I was really glad he figured that out, I guess, instead of just bleeping it or something.
Did not disappoint.
Yep, that's right.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
anyway,
What did I do? I went to
drank all your beer apparently.
I drank all my beer. I went to
Jesus.
PAX last weekend. Or this past weekend, I was there on Friday and Saturday, and that's most of the reason that I've been like so mentally like all over the place is like between work and then, we put the show on hold a little bit while Justin had family visiting. I was like, well, I've got this.
Oh yeah, we're late too because of me.
yeah,
Oh,
our schedule's
Lord.
all fucked up. So
Just blame it on him.
it's just it's a hot mess.
Look what you did.
What is PAX?
PAX it stands for Penny Arcade Expo, And Penny Arcade is something I don't even really know.
They've overrun
what it is.
their mandate at this point, I guess.
They've overrun the branding of it because it's become this whole separate thing. But PAX is basically like Comic-Con, but for gaming. It's the best way I can explain it. So there's a few of them all over the country, and there's one here in Boston. So it's now 4 days. It's Thursday through Sunday in the spring, and it's a hell of a good time. Tabletop games, PC, console, just anything of any kind of game is there. Like, the big boys, Sony and Xbox, are there.
Hasbro and stuff. Too.
This year there was no Bethesda or Blizzard, which was kind of interesting. Usually they have a huge presence, but they were not there this time.
Do they announce any games at this convention, or is it just
Borderlands 3 was announced at PAX.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're a Borderlands,
I thought they did more like E3.
Oh yeah,
E3 is the other big one. PAX has multiple shows throughout the year. So there's like PAX Prime, which is in Seattle, PAX South. They just added PAX Unplugged, which is tabletop only. There's PAX
Gotta break
Australia.
that shit out.
Yeah. So PAX East, though, is the one here in Boston. I live in Boston. The one on the East Coast in Boston. And it's not that far for us to go. So it's super fun, though. Like all the cosplayers and stuff, and you get to try all these cool games and hang out with friends, and it's a good time. So
it's cool.
It's very physically draining, though. You walk 6, 7, 8 miles a day just around a convention center floor. It takes a lot out of you.
Sounds like NAM.
Yeah, like NAM.
Yeah, actually, right.
Or if
it's like that's a better way to put it. It's like NAM, but for video games.
There you go.
Everything you're looking at is not a guitar.
Right, yeah. A lot of VR presence, which is cool. We're definitely bridging the gap into video games as exercise via VR, which is super funny to me. But
I don't want that shit. I just want to be
late. Sound like fun.
It's gamifying it. Gamification. Anyway, so let's zoom out here for a second. What the hell is going on? The Tone Jerks is another guitar podcast. and
if you listen to our feed, you already know that.
Right. If you listen to our feed, you heard the episode that they hosted that we were featured on, and now we're doing the whole thing again, except we're hosting and we're featuring them. And then this episode will come out in our feed and the Tone Jerks feed. So that's going to be
totally different.
We're flipping the lid, baby.
Yeah,
Whoa.
It's going to be totally different, except not that different, except we're going to, we kind of followed their show format, previously, and then we're going to follow our show format this time. So
that's what you think.
Honestly, I don't care.
Hijacking this.
I'm going to scatter in the discussion, I think, kind of throughout this. And I just want to first start by saying thanks to Pedal Genie.
Oh, right.
Oh, God damn it, Justin. Not ready at all.
God damn it. I plugged it all in. I'm cool.
Thanks to Pedal Genie for sponsoring the tone control. Visit pedalgenie.com and start your wishlist today.
Babba boop. Awesome. Beep,
there it
boop.
is.
It's the robot. So, before we get any further, this happened yesterday, and I want to talk about it before we get into the news. Last night, I had one of the worst gigs ever.
Oh, no.
And I want to talk about bad gigs.
But I wished you a good gig. I mean, it didn't work, I guess.
I guess it didn't.
Damn it.
It didn't take.
You got to try a little harder than that, Brian.
Did you say break a leg, Brian?
Oh, man.
Supposed to say that. Good luck is bad.
Here's the deal. We played at this dive here in town. Not even not cool dive. Just like a place is a dump. And
this isn't faux dive. This is just a dive.
It just sucks. But they've built up this big stage, and it's kind of one of the small number of places in town that kind of routinely get surprisingly large acts in. So we get put on this bill with 6 other bands.
Jesus.
So there's 7.
It's a bar too, right?
7 bands. Yeah, it's a bar with a stage situation and lights, and it's like it could be good, but it's not. So 7 bands. It runs air quotes 6:30 to 11 p.m.
6:30.
Yeah.
And this is yesterday?
This is on a
Do
Sunday
bands
night.
play for 15 minutes or something?
Sunday night?
Yeah. So divide 7 bands across that much time, not accounting for setup and breakdown stuff, and you're looking
Yeah.
at pretty short sets.
Yep.
So on top of that, we get there and we had already set up like everybody was going to use our drummer's drum kit kind of as the house kit. Just bring your crashables and like a snare. And other people had volunteered guitar cabs and bass cabs, and that was all good.
Making backline.
Right.
Yeah.
Except not everyone really communicated on that or got the memo, so that was immediately all fucked up. So then we get there and the sound guy is like, hey, trying to decipher the gear share situation. Doesn't really know who we are because obviously he can't keep track of 7 bands. I don't blame him. And then he follows up with, by the way, it's my first day.
Oh, this poor guy.
And so we're like, oh, all right, and what it turns out it was not his first day at the venue or working for the guy who was managing the thing. It was his first day running sound, period.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I used to be a bartender, dude.
It was rough.
Whoa.
So every band of all, well, I only stayed for 6, but
Come on, dude.
it was so shitty, man. So, well, no, here's the thing though. It was $13 at the door to get in.
gee, for locals?
For locals. Two bands were on tour and then
Okay.
5
Jeez.
locals. 13
That's-
bucks.
It's too much.
And you could have paid 10 in advance. So it was like buy a ticket ahead of time. It's this whole thing. Way too much. We had almost no draw. All the local bands had almost no draw because no one can convince anyone to come. Pay that much,
Well, they know they're going to be able to
like,
wait 2 weeks and not pay that much and not have to sit through 7 other bands. Or
Exactly. So first of all, we get there and everybody's playing to a room full of other bands. So great, right?
Yeah.
It's a good crowd though with 7 bands.
Right. It's like 30 people. It's all bands.
the place was packed.
Wow. Call the fire marshal.
So each band had a unique, kind of customized sound issue.
Oh, really? Okay. So each one was like, they found
They
a
found some
break
new
in the
way to
system.
fuck it up. Yeah.
Now that one's feeding back.
Yeah, pretty much. So the first band just sounded bad, like no guitars in the mix. Bass was way too loud. Didn't help that their vocalist like injured his voice the night before, so he was just sounding bad in the first place. Second band, the sound in the room was much better, except there was like lots of feedback issues. So like mics feeding back into the monitors. Then another band had great outward sound, but absolutely nothing in the monitors. We had
I'll
great.
fix that feedback.
We had a great monitor mix, but we had no vocals in the mains
You don't really need them.
Sounds great
like,
for us, but
for like 30 minutes. And this show ran the whole time, 6:30 till whenever it ended, constantly fussing with the soundboard, trying to fix everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
Sucks being the new guy.
Yeah, that must have been the most stressful night of that guy's
for
life.
sure. And now our singer, guitar player, piano player, Matt, volunteered, kind of voluntold to, to go help out pretty much. And it definitely got better, but it was like, so we're packing up the stage and the sound guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, were you playing bass? I'm holding a guitar. And I'm like, no,
Yeah,
that's
6-string bass. They're just smaller.
this is much.
scale.
Yeah, it's
So short scale
scale.
6-string bass.
I was like, no,
Tuned
that's
to
Andy.
E flat.
That's Andy over there. He was playing bass. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And I thought he was going to go talk to him about something. And he's like, yeah, I'm packing up my gear. Yeah. I just kind of lost the bass signal part of the way through. I'm
So
like,
he's like, thanks for telling me.
I was like, is this supposed to make me feel better? Like, are you telling
So
me
he he was asking to make sure you weren't the bass player before he told you.
I don't know, but because
Oh, phew.
Are you gonna get pissed right now, dude?
This guy could go off or what?
yeah, and I was like, I think he was trying to tell me like, oh, this place, can you believe it? But it came off as like, I don't know what I'm doing. So then,
I'm new. Okay.
yeah,
Just give me a
and
break.
then he
Cut me some slack,
You know,
Jack.
dive bars. They suck.
and I'm just totally ignoring the guy. And then I'm packing up, and he's like, yeah, and then like, I don't know, it was weird. Like the board just like turned off. I was like, obviously not, because we still had a monitor mix, and like everyone could still hear the band. But
Yeah,
like,
that's weird.
what are you talking about?
He
Just
doesn't know what's going on.
not a clue.
Just like retreat.
So I stayed for another band, and they were just, I don't know, I'm not going to name names, but they're better on their record than they were live. It was just kind of, the whole night was super underwhelming. So I don't know. Hit me with a hot take on your worst gig.
Well, we got a lot of them. I got one where we had a really, really great crowd. I think you've played one of those type of shows, the emo nights, like the nostalgia, kind of like play pop punk covers. The DJs play pop punk music.
Yeah.
And anyways, this place sold out. It's packed to the gills. Tons of people. So I'm like, cool. You get paid. There's people there. You get free booze. It's good stuff. But the sound guy there, holy moly. Well, he let us know right away before, because we were the first band. He's a cool guy. But
Hey, I'm cool.
Like he said, I'm cool.
He's like, yeah, hey, dude, I'm cool.
I'm cool, but
Oh, boy.
and then but
Follow. It's like,
That's not something
when-
cool
when-
people say.
When you
No.
say that, it's almost like, oh man,
he wasn't Fonzieing it up or anything.
yeah.
He was just
hey, but it was like he wasn't very good at the job, and then also like our drummer likes to play with in-ears, and I'm like, okay, and he brings everything. Like I bring a mixer and a line in, stuff like that. He makes it easy for them.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just plug in here, and whatever you were going to give me in my drum, monitor, don't, and then just put it in my, in-ears.
Sure.
And it's cool. He loves it, and he plays a lot better and more confidently. He likes that. We don't do click or anything, but he able to hear the band, and he likes it. So,
and the sound guy was already pissed off that Brian wasn't there like 30 minutes early.
oh yeah,
He was like, "Where's your drummer?
And we
He's
were-
on the way.
or
Where's your drummer? Okay, dude.
yeah, he was
calm down.
he was already
I'm
on my-
cool, but like,
Yeah. and we already had everything set up. So basically, all we had to do is like throw the drums up there. We Kyle and I know kind of how to set up Brian's drums too, and we can kind of like basically help him load all the stuff in, unpack it, set it up basically, and he kind of fine tunes everything. So it's like we can set up drums in like 3 minutes. Like we're good at like we're used to those 10-minute breakdown setups.
we're so good.
Yeah,
We're so good.
humble brag.
You guys are
And then
cool,
so-
but
I'm cool, but
Anyway, so like once he got it going, I'm like, dude, we're well before doors even open. We got Brian there, sound checked, and we're like set up for everything. And then, but the mix was just like he was messing with the whole time. And same deal with you. I'm like feedback. I'm like I get feedback, and I'm like, okay, there's like 1 or 2 monitors for Kyle and I, like small little 10s or 12s or whatever. And I'm like, Kyle and I are just like, we can sing without hearing ourselves. Cut them. We don't need a monitor mix. Cut our monitors because that's what the feedback is. And so he's like, "What? Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, I know what I'm doing. I've been I've been playing guitar and singing."
I'm cool, dude.
we've been in a bar before, so you've heard yourself off the back wall. Don't
Yeah.
worry. This isn't the
And
first
then-
time.
And then
We
like
know that natural slapback.
and it sounded good. The vibe was cool, but the sound was terrible. And then like the way he chose to set everything up, he chose to mic the drums, like the kick and like the toms and stuff like that. And then he chose to. Kyle had an 810 Ampeg rig with the SVT3, so like
Okay,
what
all right.
500 watts.
Who doesn't want one?
Thousand.
Sounds great. Sounds
Isn't it?
great.
Yeah.
And then they
SVT3.
DI'd him too
Yeah.
through the house. They did not mic me at all.
What?
Yeah. He's like, Dad, I ain't doing shit for you.
And so I'm like, dude, I'm like my amp, and I'm like, okay, well, this is 50 watts. Better come on, Orange, don't fail me now. And
Yeah.
I'm cranking that thing, and then I'm just cranking my amp, and it sounded good, but I'm like, the fact that I know that I'm like, now I'm blaring my amp louder than it needs to be just to get heard, and I was like, oh, man, this guy was terrible at his job, but he started off saying how great he was, and then he was an asshole.
That's a big flag right there. Like,
And
was just
not
an
putting a
asshole.
mic up, that means he doesn't have any of the control. Like you want that person to be able to make those choices.
Yeah.
And him not putting a mic up is just like, oh, don't worry, you can be loud enough. Like loud enough for what? You can't hear what it sounds like when you're
Yeah.
up
Like,
there.
not
you know?
knowing what you're doing is fine, but like when you tell everyone that you know what you're doing, you're like, back off, I know what I'm doing, and then you suck.
And then, like, because your drummer's not here, I'm pissed off. I'm having a bad day. I'm like, it's still daylight out, dude. Like, the doors don't open until 8.
It's like, dude, go drop some more acid, and then maybe he'll be here.
Yeah, you need to calm down. So go some more blow. Where's the drummer, dude? Where's the drummer, dude? I'm
hey,
cool.
would that calm him down? I don't think so.
No.
So anyways, like as soon as we were done, I'm like, cool. I mean, like I didn't really have to deal with him ever, after that because we were the opener. But I'm like, what? I mean, why would you preemptively start it off like I'm gonna start off on the wrong foot and piss off this band?
Weird.
It's so weird.
So-
I don't know.
That was a recent one, but it was a great show. So, but it was
Just
just like
naturally, we killed it.
Yeah. good crowd.
Well,
like I
that's
said,
the thing.
everything.
Like our show sucked, but we played really well. And
Yeah.
like everybody said that the band mix in the room was great. There just was absolutely no vocal presence.
Yeah,
So like,
but
okay, people were like leaning over the stage, listening to the monitors.
Listening to
cupping their ear.
just turn
pretty
the
much.
monitors over. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we've also had shows where we've played like all ages venues in San Diego, and then got it. The curfew is like 10 or whatever.
Oh, man.
And we're like, okay, we've talked to the promoter Booker, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna pay you guys extra for last minute to play with this touring band. Like, I'll pay you guys like X amount of money, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, can you guys close it? I'm like, okay, but if you're gonna pay us this much, then yeah, we'll close it. I'm like, and we have like 2 days to draw. I'm like, we're probably not gonna bring anybody. He's like, no, that's fine. We just need somebody to close it. I'm like, fine, that's cool. And then, so a couple things. The show is fine. It's like good sound or whatever. And obviously there's not a lot of people there. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we're playing and we're like on our like third to last song or fourth song to the end. They flip the house lights on, and then people start leaving. And I'm like, no, we're not done yet. And it was like one of those type of venues where it's like no re-entry. So like at least 15 people left, and then they're like, oh, you can't come back in.
Yeah.
And then so I'm like, okay, cool. And then they are like
Sweeping up
in the back and cleaning. And I'm like, God damn it, we're still on stage. And then I'm okay, that's like rude. Obviously, it doesn't make you feel good as a performer. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then I go find the promoter, talk to him face to face. I'm like, okay, dude, where's that, money? He's like, oh, dude, I already closed the safe.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I can't pay you tonight. And I'm like, what?
shit.
What? You already knew that you were going to have to pay us this amount of money. You should have had that pulled and ready for me.
Sorry, dude. I already blew it up my nose, man.
Pretty much.
We need someone to close the show because we can't have anyone in the room while it's silent. They're going to shoo everybody out like your background
I was
music.
out. Yeah, that one was pretty bad. I mean, the venue closed. Surprise, surprise. It's closed. And I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to cry. Over losing this venue. I'm like, they kind of ran it into the ground and did a job and just treated bands badly.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Right.
So those are some bad ones. But you persevere and you keep going.
Oh, yeah,
Just like, you don't let it get you down.
Yeah, we told the guy, like, we are not going to play a gig that you ask us to play that has any more than 4 bands or has a cover any higher than $10. Like, there's no reason. Like, we just, what is the point? What is the value of us coming to play one of 7 bands? That's a drop in the bucket.
I mean, local shows shouldn't be more than $6.
Yeah, right.
I think 5 is good.
Right, I agree. And we're like 10 would like really push it depending on like if it was a tour
It was
situation.
a dive bar.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh,
I mean, there's good.
And here's the other thing. We did not get paid for this last night. At a $13 door charge, we got no money.
Well, yeah, and sometimes when we play with touring bands, we usually just give them our share, even if it's just like $40, $50. I'm like, I'll give it to the touring band. Whatever. I don't care.
They were just like, oh, you have to negotiate this ahead of time. And we were like, can we get paid? And they just said no. Like, all right, well, okay, but they were supposed to be like kind of a big deal, and we were expecting a big draw, which there wasn't. So, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You'll get them next time, sport.
Yeah,
Yep.
You guys have like 7, 8 more shows. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
that one of
fine.
those will
Yeah.
be. There'll be some good ones in there.
Yeah, it was also kind of nice, like that. It was kind of like going off the rails. That I was a lot more relaxed about the whole thing because I'm still like, it's only my second show I've played with this band, and I was like,
Oh,
boy,
you got a bad one out of the way early.
Yeah, and the old guitar player was in the crowd, so
Awkward.
Did you make sure to rock his socks off?
kind of did. Yeah,
Just
You stare him right in the eyes.
you wink at him a bunch of times.
check
Like,
out,
this could have
check out
been
this
you.
way. I changed your part, bruh. No, he was probably like, you're blowing it, dude.
Yeah.
Start tapping.
He's probably like, man, I'm kind of made a good move not playing the show.
Got out just in time.
So anyway, all right, let's hop into these show notes here. What do you say?
Okay.
So it's your show.
Lightning
All right.
round.
So yeah, lightning round. 2 things super quick. One, JHS has a YouTube channel. And they're doing like vlog style informative videos about pedals, how they work, why some pedals are the way they are, pedal history and lore, examples. Has anybody seen any of these yet?
I just yesterday actually watched one of the preamp ones.
They're so good.
I did a little. Oh, okay.
Well, so I've watched a few, and I haven't watched the preamp
they
one.
look really good, and the guy's like pretty personable, and he's like he makes his like personality like, oh, I'm gonna do Brian Wampler style, I'm the guy kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, it's cool. And I'm like, I look at him, like he's talking about preamps, and kind of like, okay, to me, I'm like, I use a preamp just like kind of sometimes as an always on, or just makes your amp a little bit better, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see his take on it. So it was cool. And then he's like, oh, these are some of my favorites. And then my personal favorite is my JHS Clover. I'm like, okay, this is a commercial.
So I have
that was coming.
I'm like, all right, it turned into a commercial. Here you
so
go.
that's
And
the
he's
thing. Like, I have not
8
seen
minutes
that
of him
yet.
playing it.
I've seen, I haven't watched the preamp one, but I've seen a few others, and I've noticed how like he'll reference a JHS pedal as like, here's the one we made, but we based it on like combining these two vintage ones, or like most of the time it seems like it's not a big sales pitch, but I'm wondering if they're trying to squeeze that in now. But
it makes sense if you're going to spend all that time, and they look great. They sound killer.
Oh, they're
like,
great demos, and they're great discussions. I think of like how certain pedals got to be the way they are. The one on the Univibe is great because it kind of goes over like Univibe is this weird in between of like, is it a phaser? Is it a chorus? Kind of, it's all these like other things, and he explains why that is. And
that's cool.
And in the only reason he pulls out a JHS pedal is to demonstrate how it works optically with that light inside, because he made the circuit. He can speak to it.
Yeah. And that's, he's, I wasn't like, felt like I was like,
no, I know what you mean though. Cause like I was like, JHS has a little bit of a checkered past, and I know that like, I take them with a grain of salt sometimes, but I was kind of pretty pleased to see this setup.
Yeah, and they make great stuff, and it's like pretty, I think, it's like there's all these different avenues for like companies. I'm like, okay, if this guy has a presence and people look to JHS for like, oh yeah, he's the face of the company. I'm like, well, then be the face. And sometimes, people kind of stumbled upon that. Like, I think Brian Wampler, his channel is a lot of fun because he doesn't always highlight Wampler pedals. He'll do like, this is what a Troop Screamer is, and a modded one. Can you hear a difference? There's not really. Stuff like that. And I'm like, I love it. He's pretty personable and funny, and his podcast is great too.
I've seen,
and I'm like,
I would encourage checking out more of the JHS stuff, because it is kind of like that. And it's like, here's some of my favorite examples. And there was a few that I watched that a JHS pedal was not referenced whatsoever.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I like came off quick that I'm like, oh my, cool. No, it's a great, and the guy, it's like I watched the videos. I'm like, oh, I already watched like 5 minutes of this, and I'm not bored. So it's fun. They're good videos.
They're well produced and stuff. Okay, and
this week's pedal is featured full drive with the JHS mod.
Yeah,
right.
If you like this Boss pedal, we do a mod for it.
Pretty much.
Sounds really
well,
good.
Well, they
right?
got 92,000 subscribers on that channel, so they're
doing something right.
I mean, they they'd be silly to not monetize.
Those are amateur numbers, man. Bump those up.
So he should stop acting like a dick. They can get some real numbers.
That's
them up a
definitely
little
true.
bit.
Yeah.
No, we act like assholes, and I think we have 30 subscribers.
Yeah.
One of them is
on
me.
our level, dog.
Our YouTube is like, I'm surprised we have that many. I'm like, all I do is just dump our episodes onto YouTube. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So then the second super quick thing is I still have, it's right here. I still have the Copper Sound Daedalus reverb that I was trying out.
Very cool.
So it feels more like a little amp reverb, like an always on kind of sound, rather than a Take You to Outer Space reverb, which I mentioned before. Whoa. So I did a demo kind of in an old school style because it feels really amp-like. So here's that. And now we're back.
Now's where I'm gonna put it in.
Oh man, that was so killer,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Okay.
That was
like
crazy. I
amp,
love how it reverberated.
Right. The reverberization.
It was like an amp, you know?
I don't get it. What are we talking about?
We're moving on, Kyle.
You're blowing the bit.
All right. First real
We
news
gotta get
thing.
through this so that we can get to more nonsense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Remember when we were on your show and I said we were going to talk about mid-range when you guys were on?
Yes.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
So this
Gee.
is the Aris Effects Target Mids. Oh my gosh, I'm like blowing up
What
my
are you
windows
doing?
over here. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Your windows blown
God,
up?
I went full screen.
Target
God,
mids, there's a robot.
I'm going full screen,
Man,
Max. I double clicked the thing. All right, here we go. Target mids.
A sweepable mid
I know-
EQ.
I know you guys do like the bumps or whatever music,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm expecting to hear it. And I'm like,
Oh no, yeah.
oh, okay, it's done in it post. I'm like,
Definitely doesn't happen in real time.
Goddamn liars.
I'm blowing the, I'm just ruining it for
Pulling the curtain
audience.
back here. So yeah, it's a one-band parametric EQ.
One band,
And it's-
fully
yes.
parametric mid EQ. Cool.
Cool. It's got controls for level, frequency, Q, and a boost and cut. It operates in 1400 to 2700 hertz.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
all right.
know those really well.
I like
I know
Aris effects
those.
a lot. They're definitely like a more of a metal focused kind of company.
Right. So I found this scrubbing YouTube for stuff, and it's it was on like kind of a metal channel. You know, it was focused on high gain stuff, and you can put it in front of the amp and use it as a fully adjustable clean boost kind of situation, but it can also live in the effects loop and kind of modify the mid range of the amp itself, which is super cool. You can essentially manipulate your guitar tone or your amp tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I saw the demo. Was it Colin?
Yeah, the really Scottish guy.
Yeah.
He's the best,
metal
yeah.
dude, and he's great. I mean, he does metal stuff. He did some rock and pop kind of stuff. It's cool. I mean, like it's just it's a mid thing, and so you can kind of do like a cocked wah deal, which I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, because I'm like, and it's.
I'm assuming you
Sometimes
can
with
throw
guitar,
it really
yeah.
wide too, though, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
super wide.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
the thing is, when you want your lead lines to pop forward, you want to give those mids a little bump, and this could
Yeah, it's
definitely do that. And actually, I have a my pedal that I have this week from Pedal Genie. I have one minor, tiny complaint about it, and it's that the built-in boost doesn't have a mid-range control. Because that would make it an end game pedal, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Somebody's got to do a mod to that then.
Right.
GHS, we're calling you.
So for the metal guys, they'd probably be using this in well, no, it's kind of too high. It's kind of the low range being at 1400, you wouldn't want to be cutting that even for a metal guy. So never mind. I don't know why this has a cut on it. Stupid.
Well, I guess you could operate it inversely,
Get rid of an annoying honk. So here's the thing. Let me hit you with this hot take. The frequency range of this for cutting, the places where I cut most commonly in guitars, especially high gain guitars, is sometimes in the low mids, definitely way below 1400. Sometimes like close to 400-ish, although you got to be careful because then you lose a lot of body. But the place where you're cutting like the ear knives to get like enough tone, to get enough volume out of your metal guitars without them like literally destroying people is like 4K. And so this is cleanly below that and cleanly above anything that I would do in the low side. So I just would never use the cut on this at all. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, EQ is a powerful tool, and especially to use like in front of an amp or like in the effects loop. I mean,
The effects loop thing's interesting.
yeah, I mean,
I still think you'd be boosting.
yeah, I don't know. It could be fun, could be usable, but like I don't know, a tube
sounds
screamer
like
in
he
front of a
hates
high
it.
gain is in front of a high gain amp. I'm like, a tube screamer could be cool. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just kind of like easier.
Tube Screamer is a mid boost.
And that's
more or
kind of like,
less.
oh, that. And I guess like Derek, you'll hate this. I play a mid-focused amp and I put a tube screamer in front of it. I
have
play an
nothing-
orange rock reverb and I'm like, yeah, hit it with more mids, baby.
No, I mean, guitars are mid-range instruments,
Yeah.
Like, let
I'm
those
like-
mids fly.
I wanted
Excuse me, sir. Are there any more mids?
yeah. I wanted to honk
May I
all
have
over the place.
another?
I I'm very honky with my tone.
All right. Well,
so
they're selling it
it's,
for
cut that out, I guess.
$169, but it's on sale for $139 right now.
It's only $169, yeah, but when I
Whoa,
added
there
it,
you go. 169, baby.
But it's currently on sale for $139, which is both
Aw.
disappointing
$30.
and pleasing.
all right, next.
Next, Positive Grid.
Bias Effects 2.
Bias Effects 2.
Damn it, Justin.
You're stepping on my bit.
I don't have a bit. We're just every now
So-
and then I wonder if we say something at the same time or if you edit it so we say it at the same time.
I usually don't move stuff around very much.
Well, when we did our episode, there was a lot of times where we were talking over each other. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let's cut these parts out.
Yeah, I
No,
figured
yeah.
you were going to have to mute the hell out of me a lot. I
no,
kept doing that.
like usually
You
when
cut me. I don't.
when
I didn't
Kyle and
talk
I
at
were
all.
like stepping on you guys, I'm like, no, I need to cut us.
Well, I think you might have
Anyway, sorry, back to
handled that backwards.
cut me out. Yeah. So,
Shut up, Brian. God.
shut the God damn it.
It's my show.
Derek, what's new with this modeling and DSP engine?
Well, I'll tell you, Justin. It's a totally re-engineered DSP engine.
I bet.
It ships with 100 new amp model designs,
Calling me
new,
skeptical.
new cab mic combos, and Celestion IRs.
That is impulse response.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Oh.
So here's the real wow factor thing. It's got guitar match. So we've seen amp
saw
matching
that.
and stuff,
Oh, shit.
but now we got guitar match.
Does it match like the color, or is it just like?
Well, that's where the tone is.
The wear level?
No, it actually matches the nut width.
Oh, is it a compound?
Yeah, right.
What are we doing here?
So now
Fan frets, maybe?
it'll listen to your guitar in the same way that amp matching would listen to your amp, and it transforms it into one of 18 classic guitars, like a 57 Gold Top or a Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat or a 58 Gretsch Countryman, for example.
All the boring ones, yeah.
What's wrong about a 57 Gold Top?
Is gold?
Yeah, he's not a gold top
The
guy.
goldness.
Out of here. This is my
I'll
show.
take the top. I'll take the top, but not the gold.
You can keep the gold, and I'll take the top.
So this is, I haven't really heard much about how this is going to work, but
I don't get it.
I'm pretty skeptical about.
But I'm like Tom Hanks and what Big? I don't get it.
Yeah, like amp matching kind of makes sense, right? You know, pedal
Yeah.
cloning makes sense. Guitar cloning, okay.
It necessarily has to be the same process as amp matching. The only
That's all I
tools
can
they
think
have
of,
at their
yeah.
disposal are, modeling different levels of gain staging and like how that's going to change
Maybe-
as the level goes up and down. They're modifying the EQ. They can make the EQ loudness dependent, like level dependent, which is going to that's going to have a lot to do with making different pickups sound like each other. Because some pickups, are going to get brighter when you hit them harder, or
Yeah.
vice versa. And then the other thing is probably like some kind of transient designing response. So that's transient designing is like you're talking about you're determining whether something's a transient by it being short, obviously, but also like kind of the difference. So like a transient doesn't have to be loud to count as a transient, whereas with a compressor you have to get over that loudness threshold before the compression starts to take effect. So in this case, like a quiet thing that is still a fast peak but is very low would still count as a peak. So things like that can be detected by computers and treated differently.
Nice.
So, but that's the only tools they have. So that's a
Right.
very
Like, all I can
complicated
think
thing
of-
they're trying to do.
Yeah, all I can think of is it's going to operate very similarly to amp match. So it's changing a different set of parameters, the things that these guitars are known for rather than what amps are known for.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd be interested to hear how it sounds.
Yeah,
but I'm
I
like,
mean, I
at
was-
the end of the day, it's just like how it sounds at the end.
Right. I was skeptical
people
of
are
amp
just gonna
matching.
tweak
I
them
think,
anyways.
I think we were all skeptical of amp matching at first, and then that's definitely a thing now. So, I mean, maybe guitar matching is totally fine. I don't know. This is going to be just like amp matching. I'm going to need A/B tests on this. I'm going to need, a few real 57 Gold Tops to hear, kind of, create an average, and then
I'm gonna need a full write up.
It's a positive grid.
Can I
Send
get
those
this? Can I
over
get this
to-
on my desk by Monday? Positive grid, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, standard edition is $100, professional 200, and elite 300. They just come with more things,
More
pretty
models.
much. More goodies, more models. Yep.
I wonder if it'd be easier to do this if they were turning things into MIDI in real time.
Oh, I don't know. That seems like a lot of. Well,
Yeah, then you'd be dealing with samplers instead, and okay, no, it's probably a bad idea.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of the software has like come like a long way, and it sounds all good. So they keep improving upon it. I'm like, might as well. I mean, you can just get like a fully functional like recording guitar setup just by plugging into your simple interface. I'm like, it's cool. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mhm.
I had, I still have it, like 11, and it sounded like in DigiDesign, like 11
You
back in
didn't
the
like
day.
11? Yeah.
I did not like the way it sounded. I could not get a good sound out of it. It was just like passable, like just
Yeah.
for demoing, you know? And then I had a Amplitube, the Ampeg one for
Yeah.
bass. And I'm like, I guess bass is easy. You can just plug that in with a DI and it sounds pretty good. But I'm like,
Sure, yeah, it's just super easy.
yeah. But using their Ampeg software sounded great. So I don't know. It could have been like the 11 software I had was just, from 2011. It was just not very.
They did update that.
The technology
eventually.
wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
update that. It's the update is years old now. I think actually the real gem for 11 was actually the hardware.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because it has onboard processing, it can be used in standalone. It doesn't load your computer, and it was, I think, the first interface that had an impedance matching guitar input. So it would actually, and that's something you'd totally miss out on if you were just using the software, right? So a lot of their models could match impedance on the input to what their amp model was supposed to be, or whether it was a pedal or something. So
Yeah, I had a friend, band of ours. They recorded a record and used all the 11 rack deal.
Yeah.
So they used that. It sounded great. It sounded, you can kind of hear that there were some parts where it was like, oh, that's
you can hear it's a little
that's not
fakey.
a real amp or whatever. But it sounded fine. It sounded
Like
great.
that first A
this-
Perfect Circle album. That whole thing
Okay.
sounds super amp modeled.
Mhm.
But it was also kind of early. It was kind of early in the amp modeling thing.
early in the game. Yeah.
I'll have to go
But-
back and listen to that now. I haven't thought about that kind of thing in a long time. Like early examples of that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like 06, was it?
Geez.
Was it
No,
that
probably
late?
earlier.
Hold on.
Google knows.
Google. We'll wait. Don't worry about it.
2004?
Yeah, 04 sounds.
But I mean, I saw like
2000.
2000.
oh,
Whoa.
dang. That's okay. Yeah.
I was right when I said earlier. So
Like, I've seen videos of the old bias effects, like demos and stuff like that. It sounded great. So I'm like, oh, if they can improve upon that, might as well. I'm sure. And
All right.
$300 for the most is not a big deal.
No, it's not. I definitely keep an ear to the ground with Positive Grid. I mean, I use their stuff for this show all the time, and I'm consistently very pleased with how it all sounds. So I'm sure, and this is Bias Effects. Like, it's kind of one of those smaller subsets of the Bias ecosystem. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Guitar match. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, pedal Genie. Justin, do you have a pedal?
Yeah, I didn't open the bag yet.
Screw it. All right.
Do you want me to?
it sounds great, though.
I kind of felt like we probably had plenty to talk about already.
Yeah. No, we can wait. I haven't done a demo of this, but
Okay.
I'll hang on to it. Pedal Genie, we like your faces, and you sponsor our show, and that's great. And you send us cool pedals. We'll talk about what we had next time, I guess.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. In the meantime, everybody go to pedalgenie.com and just fool around and make a wish list and stuff. And at a certain point, give them some money, and then they'll ask you where you heard about it, and you tell them that it's us and it was our robot or it was me just now. And I don't know. Tony will probably call me up and be like, "Hey, thanks."
Yeah, specifically on the episode that the Tone Jerks were on. It'd be great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Specifically,
actually, if
we
you
got
could-
more subscriptions from the jerks than
At this point, we've done so many episodes together. They're going to have to add like a new entry in there. They have like a drop down box of like their "Where did you hear about us" kind of thing, and they're going to have to put the tone control
Like, what was
control
the jerk
/
control?
the tone jerks.
Yeah.
right.
Was
That
it the
one
control
episode
jerks?
with that. Yeah. So I will say though, little teaser. This pedal I had is
Red.
unbelievably good.
Oh.
It is red, and it's so cool.
Do you want to know
Oh,
what's in
gosh.
my bag?
Sure.
I could. Let's
is
have a
it-
live
it'd be great.
unboxing.
It'd be great as if it was blue.
Okay, hold on.
Do
Hold
you have
on.
like a turf war or something? Or?
No, just I guess I'll just say it. I have the Bogner Ecstasy Red, and it screams. Oh
if
my
I
god!
had the other Bogner,
Yeah, it'd be great if you had the blue one, but it sounds super good. I'll go further in depth with it next time, but it
had to get a
kicks
knife.
a ton of ass.
all right, hold on.
Tons of butts are kicked by this pedal.
So much of kicks, butts, and stuff.
Yeah, I've been cursing a lot in your guys' episode, so sorry.
Have
If
you?
you guys are gonna try and edit it.
I don't think I.
We
even-
only edit it for the jokes. Like I still label it as explicit when we publish, so it's fine.
I'm pretty sure everybody can hear what we're saying anyway.
Yeah, we're just stealing an old Metalocalypse joke anyway. So
What the hell is this? Oh, this is Matthew's Effects, the Chemist. What is this?
Okay, yeah, I had that. It's it's a cool pedal.
Reaction Catalyst Formula. Okay, I can't tell what kind of effect this is yet. Cool. All right.
Oh,
Fun.
is this part gonna be in the episode?
oh my gosh, it says atomic modulator chorus vibrato phaser octave.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's
this
what
pedal
it
I have is a
Yeah, it's all
it's
those
a
things.
multi-mod? Oh, great.
I think they just send you that to troll you.
They do.
There's
Tony's
no way
like,
that's on your wish list. All right. Well,
Whatever.
we'll do more of that next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, for now, go to pedalgenie.com and tell them you heard about it on the Tone Control. So the Tone Jerks are here.
Yeah.
The Tone Jerks run a killer weekly podcast that Justin and I are fans of, and we're actually now both officially in your Facebook group, which is super
Yeah,
rad.
you guys
That's
are-
true.
you know,
Hey, if anybody wants more alerts on their phone from Facebook, you should join the Tone Jerks because that it is banging in there.
Every 3 hours. Like,
somebody's
on
posting
fire.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's-
you really should check them out. We have talked about the Tone Jerks here and there on our show as we sort of became connected through podcastery. But for real, go listen to the Tone Jerks. It's really fun. We mentioned this when we were on your show that even though we're both guitar podcasts, there's not a lot of overlap. So I think maybe people don't listen to multiple
Except for
shows.
these last two episodes.
Yeah. these last
It's
two.
exact overlap.
Literally 100% overlap.
Not a great example, the most current thing, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like Justin said last time, it's basically the discussion part of what we tried to do so early on is what you guys are really doing well. So we talk about gear
Thanks.
a lot as we've been doing here now, but let's hear about jerk history. What is the rundown on the Tone Jerks? How did this start?
Well,
long time ago.
well, Kyle and I have been friends for a long time. We also play in the same band. Kyle plays bass, I play guitar, and in the band Playing Without a Pilot. And we've been friends since we were like 8 years old. And so we have like a long history.
Yeah,
Like
and
Kyle was
way
like,
back then, we're like, let's start a podcast.
"That's fine, we should do that with the first podcast."
What's a podcast? I'm 8.
So, I mean, we've been friends for a while, and we've played in bands. Like we've worked together, we live together. There's
think
so
I
much
broke
history
Justin
between us.
back
And we
there.
have we got a bromance going. And then I started really getting into listening to podcasts, and then I started getting into guitar podcasts, like comedy podcasts, anime podcasts. Like I was just listening to podcasts all day. Instead of music, sometimes at work I would just listen to podcasts.
Sure.
And then a coworker of mine, she was like, "Well, you already know
Why
how
don't you like it so much? Why don't you marry it?
yeah, why don't you do one?" Basically,
Okay,
yeah. She was like,
KISSING.
why don't you try and do it? I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. She's like, because she was just like, very encouraging of a friend. It's a cool friend, to say like, just try it. It's like, what's the biggest hurdle? I'm like, if people don't like it, then you just stop. Who cares? I mean, what's the big deal? I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's do it. So on a whim, one day I was with, I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do like a music podcast and talk about guitars and gear and stuff and playing shows and gigging and touring and everything that I really like about being in a band, like working, whatever you have to do to make, your band a thing. I'm like, okay, so I want to get like friends in, like local bands, whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, to start this off, like just have Kyle on because he's my bass player. And then
He's right there. He's
He's
available.
a loser. He's got a lot of free time.
At first he was like,
fucking
"Oh,
nothing
that's cool,
going
man.
on."
I don't really want to be like a host of it." And I was like, "Well, can you just like come on and be the first guest. And so yeah. And so he did it. And we did
And
the
then
first
he
episode.
never went home.
Yeah. Did the
And
first
here we are,
episode.
69 episodes later.
Yep. And then I got to be like, I had another friend, and then like I couldn't get anybody in, and I was like, I kind of want to do this every 2 weeks. I'm like, do you want to do another one? And he was like, well, I don't know. What do you mean? I'm like, well, we can just do topics if you want. I'm like, we have a lot to talk about. And then he's like, okay, well, I don't know what. Like at the time,
Fine.
like Kyle wasn't as much of a gearhead. He had his bass rig, and there's great sounding bass rig, but you can kind of get through that in maybe like 10 pieces of bass gear, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all great.
And
Like sometimes the pinnacle of bass gear, and you're like,
I
you're
haven't
there.
bought bass gear in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
It's been forever.
And then whereas guitar gear, there's a lot more into it. Anyway, so it's like, okay, well, we can talk about gigs. We can talk about whatever. And then so we did that. And Kyle was like the second time around, like on an episode, was way more open. And I'm like, this is fun. It's cool. And so we
Nice.
just started making it a thing. I'm like, you know what? We can get, do interviews with people. And so Kyle started talking to people about getting them involved, and they've listened to a few episodes. And then we got encouragement from, fellow podcasters, not to name drop, but like 60 Cycle Hum friends, Steve and Ryan, they're like, yeah, they're fun. You get like, your episodes are good, keep it going. I'm like, all right. So just that encouragement from like the community of guitar, whatever, and people listening, then, it makes you like, okay, well, maybe we can do this. Keep going. And then it kind of picked up steam. And obviously with the name of the show, kind of shot ourselves in the foot. People are like, tone jerks.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you guys are probably a bunch of assholes. And then they listen, like, these guys are assholes, but they're funny. It's like they're not like jerks
Yes,
to the
and.
crowd, but we maybe like we'll talk shit about a make believe person, like
I'm like, I don't know, man.
yeah, or like
make up a character.
make up a character, or like the asshole who shows up with the trifecta at a matchless chieftain, but doesn't know how
Yeah.
to play a chord without a
Oh.
buzzing. That's a made up person.
Dude, I'm gonna play Smoke on the Water tonight.
And
You
even
guys
like,
ready?
a lot of, listeners or people started catching on. Like, you guys are like fun, and, you're pretty genuine and honest with your personalities. I'm like, you can catch on to that. And like, it sounds like you're listening to two friends, and then
Right.
you're kind of in the mix of it. And that's exactly
Right.
what we are. So it
It
wasn't
makes
like
it a
we're
lot
phoning that
easier. Yeah.
yeah. We're not like phoning that shit in. And
I
then
think-
so it's,
I think part of what makes it really good is this. I think this also goes for kind of any guitar podcast. Is guitar players, or people that are in this sort of field. The people you talk to the most about this stuff is your bandmates, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of people you see all the time. It's exciting to not talk to because you're listening to a conversation, but to hear other input on it from an outside source that is like not someone in your immediate circle. So it's kind of, I don't know. That's part of the reason I gravitate towards it, is like you get those opinions, but you don't have to have that whole like, oh yeah, well I've tried one of those too, kind of bullshit conversations about guitar gear,
Yeah.
So yeah, your
Yeah, those
Strifecta
do
guy,
suck.
yeah, your Strifecta guy reminded me, just to pull back for 1 second. One of the bands
But-
last night had a Trey Anastasio model guitar
oh, what the hell is that?
from Fish.
Oh, no.
So he was good. He played the guitar. It was fine.
It's a few future Kyle files.
But it was a total, like, I had one of those get a load of this guy kind of moments.
yeah.
So anyway, I don't mean to derail.
We judged the
Please
hell out of that
continue.
book, didn't you?
I did,
But-
yeah. But then he shredded, so I was fine with it.
You're like,
Look
damn
at
it.
this motherfucker.
Who
And
does
then
this
you're,
guy think
and then
he
you're
is?
like, look at him.
Yeah, and I was like,
once he
look at
started
this
shredding.
asshole go.
Walking in here like he owns the place.
Big guitar swinging.
Look at all them switches.
Yeah. But, so we started doing it more often. And then, like, once we, like,
Found a groove,
and we started figuring out that the show has become less of like, because we were kind of throwing it out there of like doing interviews, and it wasn't until like maybe episode 20 something, that maybe the early 20s, that we were like, if we have a guest on, I don't want to do an interview. there's plenty of interview podcasts. Tone Mob, you have Guitar Knobs. Like, there's good ones out there. I'm like, find those. But if we have, like, I think it was like once we started having Alex, Copper Sound, name drop again. Yeah. Great dude. When he was on our show, I'm like, dude, I don't want to interview you.
Yeah, he was just on like a couple episodes of someone else's podcast.
So,
yeah, and I was like, can you just, let's just do topics. And he was like, I'm about it. And he's like, he came with ideas. He, we just had a lot of fun. He'd be a good
one for that, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And so I'm like, once we started figuring that out, I'm like, no, we're topic based. And when you guys were on, I'm like, okay, give the listeners a little bit of a backstory. And then we
not
just
too much.
Yeah, we just do topics. And then that's what we do. We love to talk. And those are my favorite type of podcasts.
For sure,
Interview ones are great.
Yeah.
But they can be kind of like, okay, cool. Oh, you started messing with a circuit and modding them? Oh, just like the last guy? Cool. All right, great story. Let's. Oh, you made a fuzz and a tube screamer? Okay, cool. All right. Well, next week we have blah, blah, blah from so-and-so, and he's going to talk about his fuzz and tube screamer that he made. It's like, okay, we get it. We get it. Yeah. And so, like, we just, it's like, okay, like I want listeners to hear the personality of the guests and personality of us. And that's what is the most fun. Cause like, it makes it like less, it's not like fans. It's like, you kind of like almost like, sounds lame, but I'm like, we're in the day and age where it's like, you can have friends with people that you've almost never even met before. Like,
totally.
You guys, like, I'm like, oh, we're in a friendly conversation, especially like on our episode. That was the first time like I've ever talked to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've been messaging on Facebook and stuff just to kind of organize all of this. Mm-hmm. But like, this has probably happened to you guys too. When someone in real life kind of talks to you about your podcast as though they know you for real, like as a real person, but you don't know them. Because why would you, right? They're not just a listener, but they're a listener
present
to
for
the
your
show.
Conversations.
Right.
For me, it's more
this
like
fly on the wall.
Something.
It's very like, it's weird. And this happens to me because I listen to podcasts and I see them live and stuff or something like that, or I run into someone at an event and it's like, I feel like I know that person, but they know nothing about me. I am no one. And it's such a weird feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's fun. And it's like people can always like doubt like this day and age, it's like so impersonal, but like at the same time it can be, and it can be like a way to connect with people in a like almost immediate way. I'm like, okay, we can record an episode a day and then it comes out the next day and people are like, oh, I'm caught up and like I like what your take on this new thing is or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta be careful what you say though.
Yeah.
Some of the shit I don't remember even saying. Like, what? That was my opinion on it? Oh,
yeah. Like, I mean, with
hot takes everywhere.
With our show sometimes, hot takes, and people are like, get pissed. And then you say like,
middle pickups suck. What'd you say?
Yeah, we have friends over in the UK. They listen to like, oh, the fucking tone jerks said that they hated neck pickups. Oh. And I'm like,
that's really funny.
Oh boy.
Well, I hope they don't hear me.
Yeah. It's been fun. We really enjoy it, and it's really not that difficult to do. Sometimes it can be daunting with scheduling and stuff like that, but we can
episode
make it work
a
or whatever.
My God, you guys.
And
I mean, you guys are also like in your immediate vicinity of each other.
Thing. So we have to be like both get together.
Like miles away.
Yeah. We're like 2 miles away. It's a bitch.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, and it hasn't, been a chore yet, and I'm like, we just keep like, I think the way that we approach the podcast, we've decided to like, okay, the more planning we can do about the topics and think about them, at least churn them out. Like maybe like if we have like 5 days to think about it, that's the best. I'm like, okay, it's a lot of fun. And like when you guys were on, I'm like, I sent you a hodgepodge bullshit text about like this is what we're going to talk about. And you guys are like, shh.
It was like Russian roulette. Which ones you picked?
Well, it was like,
but that always happens when there's this many people on the mics though. Like we just don't get through everything.
And you're like, okay, well, it's like, it's like, okay, it's a bunch of sentence fragments and emojis. Brian, can you type English, please?
I think that's half of an Imgur link you sent.
Yeah. Right. So it's been fun, and it's like that's all we do is we just talk about we sometimes we'll talk about non-gear stuff, and we make it like that's our topic is to talk about something that's not gear related.
Yeah,
and it's been fun. We've gotten good. Good feedback from like we have a Facebook group, and people like every episode will drop something and people will let us know what they like, what they don't like. And
that's nice though. I mean, you guys have an insight into your fan base a lot more directly than we do. And
Yeah.
the Facebook group specifically, like not a page, a group.
It's a focus group.
Yeah, it's a focus group.
super
I have a
good,
clipboard
like,
every time.
I've been a part of other podcast groups, and I'm always like, why don't they do a page? This is so awkward to communicate with. And now I get it. Like now it's, especially because that was like a 300,000 person group, which is basically useless. When you've got a fan base that's like approachable, who you can identify real humans and like talk to them about real subjects that you discuss on your show, it's way more insightful, I think. We have statistics on the podcast now, thank God.
Yeah.
Shout out to anchor.fm. But
There you go.
other than that, like I said earlier, we have no real communication with fans other than the very occasional note.
Yeah.
And so much so that we don't even know when episodes don't publish.
Yeah.
I know, we gotta go check them. Sometimes my brother will let us know.
Yeah, it'll be like 3 days later. So did you guys know you skip this week? No? What? Oh, episode didn't go up.
But I mean, it's different. And like, that's something for us. I'm like, okay, we have the group and the Instagram and stuff like that. And so far it's been noticeable and it's been fun and a good way to connect. I'm like, it's fun to like talk to friends and like people, who are fans of the podcast. So like sometimes they're friends. They're sometimes like friends I only meet once a year at NAMM.
Yeah,
And
sure,
I'm like, oh yeah, it's like we will talk in the groups and we can catch up and people can share something that they think is funny related to the podcast or not related. They can give their thoughts of the podcast. Like I said, good or bad, they let us know. And it's great. It's fun. I'm like, okay, we're getting it. And then, it's like, it's to me, I'm like, Facebook has only been nowadays, I only really go on there just for like podcast guitar groups. That's only thing I use it for.
Right.
I don't
Everything
even
else
give
is
a
falling
shit
off.
about my real friends or people that I know in real, like,
Seriously.
oh my God, you know what?
Damn
I'm like,
it. You're pregnant again? Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that even biologically possible?
Yeah. How long ago was that again? Jesus.
We have a lot of people here. But it's been fun. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just rambling. Kyle, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I second everything you just said.
All right.
No,
Here we go.
Cool, I'll
Brian
hit you
said-
with one.
Okay.
Koalas or sloths?
I think sloths are probably have more character than koalas, so I'm going to go with koalas.
I mean, ever since Ice Age, really like hammering it home now.
No, yeah, I think they got cool claws. Sloths are,
Yeah.
they're my number one.
It's number one.
Koalas just kind of like, meh. There's too many of them, they're
Right.
Punching
yeah.
them out of trees.
I mean, Australia's cool and stuff, but like, I have nothing to back any of this up. I don't really care. Is this real? Is this a real question?
koala.
No, I'm going to cut this all
I
out.
have a real question. So, Kyle,
Yes.
in listening to various Tone Tricks episodes, you buy a lot of pedals.
Yeah.
How?
How's that
I
going
own
for
a
you?
pedal Genie app. It's
Yeah.
called Reverb.
So
Yeah,
no,
never.
but really, because like I have some gear at home that I always kind of think like, oh, if I wanted to sell this, it wouldn't be a big deal. I could like put it towards a different pedal. I kind of roll the money into the next gear occasionally.
Mhm.
Are you just constantly out of pocket buying shit?
Yeah.
Damn,
He's just mint.
Man, yeah.
He's mint, baby.
so like a pedal budget is not.
I don't even have one.
It's not
No, I
even
just,
a line item on my
just
budget.
don't
Like,
go
that's the
broke.
thing. I don't. If I'm going to buy a new pedal, it's a big deal. You know what
You
I
had
mean?
to
Like,
plan. You had to
Yeah,
cook.
but
You had to cook the books a little bit.
yeah.
There.
pretty much.
You have two sets of books. Two sets of books for your pedals.
Because it's like every week when I listen, you're like, oh, I picked up this other thing. And it's like, dude, where are you getting this money for this? It's just part of something you spend money on.
I
Which
mean,
is great.
I work really hard, so,
Some people work for
you
the
play
weekends.
hard,
well, it seems so frequent that I was like, he must be trading or something.
No, not at all. I actually
never
have
sells anything.
never sold a pedal yet.
What?
He has the same bass that he bought in 2006.
I did not think that was going to be the answer to this question.
Justin, can I
That
just
was-
interject here for a second? My favorite new thing that you're doing is going, what?
That's been
We
my
say
role
something
in this whole
stupid.
episode.
I've noticed
like
it in the last few weeks. It's just great.
Lil
You come
Jon
out
or
of, like,
something,
out of
or
nowhere, like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Continue. Yeah. So not selling a pedal?
I have not sold a single one.
So how
I'm
many
not
do you
even
have
mad.
at
I'm
your
a-
house right now?
I'm impressed.
You got to understand. Sometimes he's buying
You got to understand, Kyle.
Boss,
He's kind of an idiot.
DOD. And
Yeah. I have a shitload.
I
Boss
get that a lot
pedals.
of them are garbage. I want to know how many.
Shit.
Well, I get that a lot of them are probably
This
pretty
interview's
cheap.
over.
I get that a lot of
Take
them.
my mic off of me.
Unclip me.
Unclip my lavalier.
I mean, Boss MXR and so on.
Yeah.
They're pretty affordable pedals.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I
makes
still have a
easier.
shitload. Like with all my MXR pedals, I probably could have bought
A Strymon.
probably some Strymons. I mean, maybe not the, a really, like the big,
Yeah, you could
big
buy-
sky,
oh,
and
yeah.
then,
Well, I
and
don't
then
know.
maybe
I mean,
the
those
smaller.
are only $450 or something. Like you're
Yeah.
closing in quick.
390, 450.
Something like that. Yeah. So, right. So how many pedals are in your house right now?
How many digits is the number?
Probably in the twos,
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
all
a,
right.
it's a
That's not
lot.
that-
but
and
it's probably up to 50 or 60.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that's just in the year and a half. Actually, not even. It's like a year and a half, I guess, of me you know what? Like, I like these little pieces of shit. I want some.
So, but what are you doing with them? Are you building
Yeah.
various pedal boards to f around with? Or are you just
Yeah,
pulling them out to
like-
jam with now and then? Or
Yeah, my most recent, still kind of together mostly. DOD, like a vintage board I put together. Well, not
Cool, okay.
all vintage, I guess, but like the old school, like the 40-pound enclosure. I got some late 70s, early 80s pedals. And what's
Cool.
cool is they're affordable still.
they are,
mean,
yeah. That's the
and-
thing. I mean, a lot of the new pedals, although loaded with features and bells and whistles, they get really expensive really quick. And
Yeah.
I think there are certain vintage pedals that people always gravitate towards, like Deluxe Memory Man or Fuzz Face, that are going to take, top dollar most of the time.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
I kind
whole
of steer
other-
away from those.
Yeah, there's a whole other vintage pedal market that's truly vintage, but way more affordable.
Yeah, I have vintage MXR pedals, the analog delay, the stereo chorus, the flanger, and I got those in the last 2 months.
That's awesome.
And but I also like boutique pedals too.
Sure.
If you can still consider Earthquaker and Walrus boutique, which I don't really, but
I don't know. It's tough. It's like the definition of craft beer now, right?
yeah, when their turnaround time's 3 days, I don't think that's boutique. I sent a pedal and they're like, "Yeah, this is great. We modded it for you. It's up at my door." This came from Oklahoma.
the factory. Yeah.
Yeah, and or if they sell on Sweetwater, does that count as boutique? I don't know.
Not. I mean, I guess
Well, hang
if
on,
you're considering Boss is cranking out millions of pedals,
Right,
I
yeah.
don't know their exact numbers.
Hundreds of thousands at least.
Yeah,
Well, their assembly
But-
line for sure. I mean, I don't know.
yeah. If you look at it over the years, I mean, this year.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. One thing that's kind of cool is the whole approach of buying the cheaper kind of stuff and the stuff that's not as sought after. And just, you try and find deals on them too. You can really discover, I'm okay, do you really everybody talks shit about the DS1 Boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
It
had
sounds good, actually. It's not I don't know why people say they sound bad.
It's
one. I had
anemic
one
a little bit.
that- it's very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I had one that it sounded pretty good in the room, but it recorded very weirdly.
And then also it's that too. It's we've discovered that I'm okay. Kyle's playing them, I'm playing them through good amps,
Yeah,
And so people
it's
say
kinda
oh,
hard
this
to-
kind of sounds like good if you didn't have I've 8030 is what is over at Kyle's house right now, orange. I'm yeah, it's not a bad amp. So I'm we play these pedals. I'm man, these Boss or the DOD 250s. This is a killer pedal. It sounds great. Why do people not like these? I'm
Yeah.
it was $30. And
Yeah,
then
that
you're
was
well,
going to
yeah.
be my comment. It's the amp makes a huge, because that's the thing. I remember being much younger and not having access to reasonably pro level amps, having
A crate or a spider.
yeah,
Something.
like stuff that was either faking tubes or
Yeah.
wasn't even faking tubes. Every pedal sounds bad into them because they're just
Yeah.
not responding right. So
Yeah.
I had a Boss, or not a Boss DS1 going into a Fender Frontman 15 or 25 or whatever.
Oh
And I'm
man, I got a
man.
Fender Frontman 15 right here. Where is it?
And I'm
It's right
man,
here.
these pedals sound like
It's got an 8-inch speaker in it, and it sounds like garbage. But it was like my first practice amp. You know?
And then I'm like, okay, that's why I always had this, taste in my mouth that like Boss pedals are bad. And then I'm like, I played them like now. I'm like, oh, I'm playing them through a Rock Reverb or an 8030. I'm like, man, these pedals are actually pretty good. So it's
I mean, there's a few that have like their fair share of problems. Like the tremolo pedal definitely has that volume drop issue.
Yeah, but I still have a problem with when I modded. It's like it's
really?
too high or too low. I don't know what the hell it is.
And that's now like Kyle mods pedals too.
So. Yeah, but like the Blues Driver is still kind of the king of that thing.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah,
it's an awesome pedal. I love that thing.
Mm-hmm. I
don't own one. Brian owns one.
You have one of my broken ones.
I don't have a Blues Driver. I've never had one, but wasn't that famously Dimebag's tone was like 2 Blues Drivers?
I thought it was 3.
3? Something like that.
I thought it was just like
all the MXR Dunlop lines. I thought that was just
all.
that was like after endorsements and stuff came in, probably. I don't know.
Just a bunch of Confederate flags on his guitars and stuff like that. That's what got the tone.
It's getting rough in here.
So, back in episode 120, which is when we first heard from young Brian.
Yeah.
Aww.
Because Brian sent us a, what the hell was it called? A segment that lived for exactly one episode.
Yeah, like
Bodacious Brian's big rigs and sometimes little rigs too, or something like that. Yeah. So you sent us your very well produced audio demo of your guitar rig. So kind of a 2-part question. Has that rig changed much since then? And this was originally going to include Kyle's bass rig, which we never got.
Yeah, I still need to record him for our new EP.
There you go.
Maybe I'll include it then.
So the second question
Opportunistic.
is what's the bass rig? I guess
bass rig.
Bass rig.
Okay.
Yeah, he means your amp, dude.
Oh, not like
no.
I don't have a joke for that. So I don't know. You want live? You want Rook Studio? You want
what is like the main
on the weekend?
Like, taking a
you
rehearsal.
could probably do both, and then you're gonna knock it out.
All right. Yeah. So I'm an Ampeg guy.
Okay.
So my studio is usually a classic Ampeg classic head on a 410 for studio.
Horn
Direct
on or off?
Was it
Horn on or off?
I don't know. We kind of throw the dice on that one. Whatever sounds good.
It's pretty much off. It's like barely there.
Yeah.
But it's squeaking a little bit.
Yeah. So
cool.
Run a American P bass with some quarter pounders I threw in there.
Ooh, that's what our bass player is using, and it sounds dope.
Oh man,
I had a
love that
Rickenbacker.
bass.
He also has that.
Jesus. Yeah, I've tried playing Ricks, and it's not me. I probably look really cool playing one, but
everyone looks cool playing a
It's
Rick.
impossible not to.
So pedals, I don't really. I think I run a DI box off of for studio, but I don't really run. No, a compressor. We really rely on the software, I think, when we're doing studios.
Yeah, so
Brian can speak to that.
Yeah, I really like compressor pedal because I don't have any outboard gear for recording as far as compressors go. I feel like I have like a tube preamp or whatever, like a tube pre from Persona. So I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. It sounds okay sometimes.
The Bluetooth, is that the one?
That's the one, yeah. So it, but for bass, I'm like, okay, last time we used the MXR bass comp, and it, it's great. I mean, I really just want to hit I don't know, like out of the DI. So I basically have him go to a tuner, into that, and then into Sans amp, and then I DI out of that. So when I'm looking at really the waveform, I just don't want it to fishtail, his notes. And so I'm kind of like, I want the chorus, not the chorus, the compressor just to kind of like, just do a little bit of the job. Because he's a really dynamic player when it comes to like, I'm hitting things really hard. I want to hit the front end or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want to like take that away, but I just want a better looking waveform to work with. And then I
just want it better. Can you play better?
I want it to sound good, and I don't want it to be like super, like, so I kind of just have like Kyle kind of like he's like, okay, well, I know you're not going to try to make me sound like shit. So I'm like, okay, I just want your compressor just to kiss it a little bit,
Yeah.
And then I have him also going Sans amp bypassed to his amp. So the Sans amp isn't like coloring his amp when he plays because it's an Ampeg Classic 300 watt.
You
Tube
don't
amp.
need much.
Yeah, right.
That's going to sound pretty good, right?
Gonna sound pretty good.
And then so but I also get the DI out of the Sans amp and kind of just blending them,
Yeah.
And then every once in a while we'll add in the DAW, we'll add some fuzz for like maybe some like bass lead lines, just like certain parts. I'm like, oh, we'll kind of
Barely though.
Yeah, and they're just like to add a little bit, more grit, and that's kind of it. And then live,
it's a mix.
Yeah,
It's a wash,
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of like whatever works for the venue.
Yeah, so go from
that's crazy. Like I would never cater my rig to a venue.
Yeah,
it depends on what car we want to drive there.
Also, yeah.
So like if we want to take my Crown Vic, it's the TB 500
Combo,
C,
yeah,
which is a orange combo, 500 watt. What do they call it? Isobaric.
Yeah, the 212.
212, but it's like such a small amp. It sounds so good. With that, I have to use like my 4-pedal rig I bring. So tuner, Serpents compressor. Recently I've been using a Westwood as a light drive, and then
I've heard great things about that.
Dude, I love it. It's so good.
It's great for bass, yeah.
Oh man, it's so good. And then run it into that Sans amp bass driver,
and then we go affected out of the Sans amp to the orange.
Yeah.
And then if we play another like his Ampeg, we go dry out of that, and then we go to the house DI'd out of the Sans amp.
Well, I don't play the classic live. I've tried using the classic live, and I just does not hit.
Huh. Yeah.
I use a SVT3 for if it's like a venue that doesn't mic or has like a big room, or just like it's the end all be all. It's like, well, we could go small, but we may be screwed. So let's just take the 410. It's a bigger amp, but it always kills, and I love that.
410 isn't that big a deal.
No.
Not if you carried an 810 around for a while.
Yeah. And then every once in a while, Kyle plays my Fender American jazz bass. If like whatever has the newest strings, that's what it'll play.
Still a really nice bass. I'm like, God damn it.
And that one has quarter pounders in it as well. And then has badass bridge.
Nice.
Pretty much the same setup as Kyle's bass, but just a jazz.
It's just a J bass,
Yeah.
See, I'm a J bass guy. I like that. I mean, I do love the sound of the P bass, but
you better.
The cut of the J is like the cut of the J bass is just so like it's there. It is in your face.
It's all the funny scooping you get with the 2 volumes too. That's kind of what it's all about. So Dark Glass made plugins. There's There's a Dark Glass, and it's DAW plugins. So there's basically the white and the black, the vintage and the B7. I think they're both. I think it's
B7.
part of the same package, but like that's like the Sans amp bass driver is like I could get away with just having that and be able to record like any rock bass or metal bass like forever. Like that's really all I need. But if I really had my choice, it would be that B7K. Like that's like the ultimate bass preamp, kind of like adding some hair to it. Like I really, on a record, like I really don't need an amp at that point. And like amps are fine, but I don't need that. I can make it sound awesome. And so I'm really excited they made a plugin. I'm also like super married to my UAD gear, so I'm like I really wish that UAD had made the plugin instead of it being native. But I don't know, whatever.
Wait, for UAD, can you not use other?
Well, I mean, I can run whatever I want in the DAW.
In the DAW,
but it's running natively, which and I don't need to deal with latency at all because the UAD will run everything on its own front end. So whenever I'm recording, like I don't think about like the buffer size in my computer. It's always set to maximum, and I just never hear any latency because I'm not hearing it through that. So when I start to deal with like, if I was going to record through a native plugin, I would have to go and like turn the latency down and can my 2011 MacBook, you know, like, can it do that? And I haven't had to think about that for years, so I sort of like don't bother.
Yeah.
And I don't want to buy the $400 pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've often
I
thought
will,
about
though.
if I need to get a bass rig, it would be exactly one dark glass pedal.
Yeah.
And just, you know, throw caution to the wind. So
Well, then you just can't play any venue that didn't have like a substantial enough PA, right? Because you realistically, like, as long as there was a PA, you'd never need an amp, but you'd be at the mercy of whatever they have. So
Yeah, whatever the sound is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess one of the questions you had is like, has my rig changed? Not really. Like the demo
Cool,
that I
okay.
sent you guys, it's pretty much stayed the same. I have a combination of amps. Like Kyle, I change depending on the venue that we play.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll give you a rundown of all my amps. I kind of
is your
showed
guitar
you.
still in tune?
Yeah, Evertunes. I got them. I did some wiring harnesses with Gun Street just to make them sound a little bit better. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, I love those guitars. The pedal, the fractal still is my thing. So my amps, Kyle has a lot of pedals. I have a lot of amps, I guess. So, all right. I have an AD15 from Orange. So that's a 1x12 15 watt,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like the 8030, which I have combo form. I have a 2x12, the 8030R. So 2x12, 30 watts, vintage 30s in there. And then I also have an 8030 head, orange.
Okay.
Just in case.
And we got a couple more here. And then I have Rock Reverb 50 Mark II 1x12 combo. So that's my little guy. And it's
The 50 watts,
50
the little
watts,
guy.
1x12. I did have the 2x12 too.
Okay.
But I sold
good.
that. I sold that because I'm like, I better get rid of some of this stuff. Anyways, so and then I also have the Rock Reverb 50 Mark II head.
Okay.
And then I have an orange PPC 412. So
Right.
at
Okay.
practice,
Yeah. I was gonna say
we-
you have a lot of heads that don't have cabs.
at our rehearsal space, we share cabs and stuff like that with the bands. We've got like 3 or 4 bands in one room, and I just leave my heads there, and I can have my 8030 head, Rock Reverb 50 head, and that's my like the demo. I try and do like a wet dry deal,
Mhm.
and then I can easily cut the 8030 out. And I don't have to change any settings. It's just because it's all dry, bypassed of the fractal. And then, yeah, there you go. And I'm like, if I can get away with 2 amps, I would love it. But I'm like, most shows that we're playing, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I mean, ideally, best situation, I can bring both of the 1x12s because I can carry them one in each hand. Because like 1x12s, they're not that.
They're not huge, yeah.
They're not that heavy, and they sound really loud. But I'm like, if I'm not in control of the volume, then I'm going to need maybe a 4x12 and try to get over the sound of the house.
That 4x12 doesn't have any wheels on it.
And it is heavy as fuck.
And it's like they put concrete in the bottom of it.
Yeah, it is the heaviest cab I've ever played.
So if it falls over, it stands right back up
Those
again.
orange caps are
It's
so
like one of those
chunky.
punching dolls.
Yeah. The Weebles, they wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah, right. I mean,
So,
the orange cabs are so like the shape of them, those thick sides, like it's just extra stuff in there. Of course they're
it's-
heavy.
It's just
Sounds
trees,
great.
man.
And, those are all the amps I have. I love orange. I think I found my niche with orange. I hated them when I was kids because I was like the bands that played them. Like would see like Under Oath and Fall Out Boy at the time. I didn't like either of those bands, and I was like, when you're 17 years old, like, they're playing orange. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I'd rather play a Marshall or a Mesa
Or a crunch.
Yeah, I would rather play or a Crank. That's what it was.
Oh, that's what it is.
Crank.
A crank.
A friend played a Crank, and I'm like, yeah, that's cooler than an orange. And then like you grow up, and I finally played one. I'm like, this is the best amp ever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, they're great. I'm like, I'm comfortable with my sound in the orange, and even when I play like and record demos in my fractal, I'm using orange. They're Citrus Sims, Citrus 30 and Citrus 50, which is like the
names
that's
in
what
those
I'm
things.
going to. I'm like, yeah, I like this sound. I'm like, it lives in the mids, low mids, high mids. That's what they are. They're not going to be super piercy. They're not going to be super like low. And that's my sound. I'm like, with the band, I'm like, yes, this is me. It takes almost no effort to dial in a good sound with them. Do I want more gain or less gain? Do I want it louder or quieter. That's it. That's all I really have to dial.
Yeah.
I can set everything like just at noon with the EQ, and that's my sound.
Nice.
Righteous.
And that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, son.
What's the
running
best
long,
Playing
but-
Without a Pilot album?
Probably the newest one.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, the greatest hits. Whatever Spotify mixes. Yeah, the latest one that we put out. I mean, it's been like a year now.
It sounds the best. It's the most cohesive record we've made.
Yeah, we are in the middle of doing an EP. It's kind of just whenever I can get together and just finish the guitar track so Kyle can, do the bass and vocals. He's pretty good about knocking them out. I just got to finish it, and we got to, anyways, hopefully this year we'll get an EP. We got 4 songs just sitting in my hard drive that I got to finish.
But we keep doing this goddamn podcast.
I know, yeah.
Instead of
Well,
doing
every
that.
friggin' day, you guys.
Yeah.
I know, the podcast is probably more successful than the band. But we love it. It's a labor of love, You got to do it. Love rock and roll.
Yeah.
Damn straight. Cool. Well, shit, guys. Appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Of
Sorry
course.
about all the planes in the background.
Yeah, I think we brought down the property value of the tone control by being on it, but we love it.
There's probably just not a parade going by outside or something.
So, where's your podcast hosted? Like, where's the main hub for Tone Jerkery?
It's on Podbean, but I
Okay.
mean, really, we're on iTunes, Spotify,
You're
Google,
pretty much everywhere
Stitcher,
you need to be, right? Okay.
all over the place.
Other things.
I mean, I don't think there is one that we're not on. I mean,
Cool.
I'm sure.
I didn't think so. I just wanted to double check.
And then we, really push people to the Instagram and Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook and search the Tone Jerks, go to the group. We have a Facebook page, which has like 7 people liking it.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Be
need to,
number 8. Be
we need
number
to-
8.
It's really just a blast page for Instagram pictures, and I think we had to have that to get Tone Jerks. Whatever it was, a
Certain
thing.
things on Instagram or
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that. And so, Instagram's the main deal, and the Facebook group. So check those out, and you'll be able to find us on all your favorite podcatchers. So I guess whatever you're listening to this on, we'll be on.
Yeah,
We'll be there.
That's a good point. Cool. That's all I got. Justin, you got anything for
Not at all.
for these folks? Cool. All right. Well,
I'm hopeless.
thanks again for joining us, and thanks again for collaborating. This was fun. I like the whole, hosting and co-hosting together on each other's shows. I'm sure
I
this
think-
won't be the last time.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Rad.
We already have a few ideas kicking around, so
There you
keep
go.
an eye out for that. Yeah, I don't think we've told anybody, but we got a few
You
ideas
haven't
kicking
told
around
me.
for that.
Mom's the word. There you go. Keep it.
Yeah,
It's a
Brian
need to
and I
know
about
basis.
it. Yeah. Cool. What else? I guess leave all the podcasts mentioned, reviews and ratings and things like that. And if you're listening to this show in the Anchor app, which I know you're not, but if you are, you can leave us a voicemail and we'll drop that into the show. And,
It'd be
you
worth
can be on
downloading
TV.
the app just to send us a lewd voicemail. I don't know why
Yeah,
nobody's
don't
done
think
that.
we won't put it in because, let's be real. It's super exciting for us when someone interacts with us about this show.
Yeah, you could basically say anything. I'm going to play it on the show.
Here's a call to the Tone Control Nation. If our show does not appear somewhere, can you let us know?
Gmail, Instagram, Facebook, get a hold of them.
Right. If we have not made a post like, hey, we're running behind or we're skipping a week or whatever, just see if we're okay and see if because we don't always know if
Send
it
us a
doesn't work.
little
Although,
knock knock.
Yeah, I think now that we're on Anchor though, that won't really be an issue. But
Hopefully.
yeah, cool guys. Well, thanks, and I guess we're done, right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to play this.
To all the components out there in the tone control circuit, thanks for listening, and off.